Worksheets are an effective way for your students to practice and demonstrate what they've learnt. Or are they? This is part of a series about what you can do instead of worksheets in your classroom. Ways that you can engage your students more effectively and give them meaningful, memorable tasks that are not just busy work. In this video, you will learn why worksheets are not an effective teaching tool and 10 teaching strategies that you can use instead to improve engagement and learning. Knowing why worksheets are not the best learning activity will help you to understand what else you can do and help you to start some ideas of your own about how you can use pen and paper or computers in much more productive ways. I recently went to a school to work in the kindergarten classroom and was quite surprised to see students completing worksheets about phonics. Is it still a thing, I thought? And how far has education come if we're still giving 5-year-olds meaningless worksheets? Not only were the worksheets poorly designed, there were also 2 learning support assistants in the room, just wandering around. They could have been much better occupied with a small group literacy activity such as direct instruction or phonics card games or reading books that had the phonics sound in them. The worksheets were collected at the end of the lesson and handed up, which also means there was no immediate feedback for the students, which is exactly what 5-year-olds need if the tasks are to have any meaning for them. And 3 students sitting near me were concerned with cheating. That is, they were looking at each other's work to see if they're on the right track. It is not cheating. I know that worksheets can be easy and seem to fit into the teaching practice. They seem to finish the task off. But let's look at what they really achieve, and much of it is just busy work. As Ken Robinson said, most of the tasks we give kids is low-grade clerical work, and then we ask why they're not engaged. I'm Mari Amaro. I'm a teacher, presenter and author, and I've been working with students and teachers for over 30 years. I'm passionate about helping teachers improve teaching strategies and learning practices, and I combine research and experience to provide strategies that improve student learning by improving classroom management. And I focus on those practices that take little or no extra teacher time, strategies that can actually give you back time by helping you to work more effectively. I love coaching teachers, and I emphasise teacher wellbeing because improved teacher wellbeing means improved student wellbeing, and that contributes to better social and academic outcomes for all students. If you'd like to learn more please subscribe to the channel and ring the bell. We put out 2 videos every week, so make sure you don't miss it. When you subscribe, that helps support the channel. If you know everyone who you think would benefit from the teaching strategies and learning practices, please share with colleagues, friends and family. Everyone knows a teacher or someone who works in a school. If you have any questions or topics you'd like me to talk about, please let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. You never want to get on a plane where the pilot learned to fly from worksheets. That quote from Todd Whitaker says it all, in my opinion. Worksheets are quite ineffective teaching tool because the work is simply regurgitated. There's very little thinking or processing going on for the students. If a student can complete the worksheet, then they're not learning anything new. If they already know how to subtract 2-digit numbers, or they can identify adjectives in a sentence, then they're completing work that they already know how to do. They are not learning anything. Next, worksheets are often repetitive and are often considered practicing skills. But if the student is doing the skill correctly, then why are they still practicing it? Worksheets require no higher order thinking. There's very little or no thinking and no critical thinking. Worksheets have right answers, which means they also have wrong answers. So there's no progression of learning, only right or wrong. And seeing questions and answers marked wrong can discourage kids from taking risks with their learning. And we already have issues with kids not taking risks and not wanting to get things wrong. Worksheets are abstract, and kids learn from concrete materials. Kids learn from doing. What they learn from doing worksheets is like what they learn from doing tests. They learn how to do the worksheets. As John Holt says, kids learn from doing. It's the only way. Worksheets are usually completed independently, so kids are not collaborating or learning from each other. You could actually increase their effectiveness by getting kids to complete them together which means that they would then be learning the skills of cooperation, collaboration, taking turns and decision-making just with using a worksheet, but you'd have to use it differently. Worksheets also waste valuable time because they focus on teaching only rote skills. And I really like this from Making Good Humans. Worksheets are often one size fits hardly anyone, because for some kids, the worksheets will be too easy and they'll be meaningless. For other kids, they'll be too difficult and they'll be frustrating. And differentiation doesn't just mean you make a different worksheet for each student. It actually isn't effective doing that. Worksheets are also wasteful, bad for the environment, and they're time-consuming to prepare and mark. They just make more work for you. If you'd like to learn some other ways to engage your students, check out our videos on teaching and learning strategies to engage students in the learning, to inspire them to learn and motivate them to get on with what you want them to do. Leah Osborne says that worksheets are to thinking what candy is to nutrition. A little bit goes a long way. So here are 10 simple learning activities that you can use instead of worksheets with little or no props. So these are ones that you could just have under your belt to use at any time. I've put some of them as phonics activities, but I'm also putting them in other areas as well. So number one, first one always is think, pair, share. And the kids could think of 2 words beginning with the sound and tell them to each other. But this has multiple uses. So if you'd like to learn how to use think, pair, share really effectively, check out our video on how to do that in the most engaging and effective ways. Number 2, draw what you've learned. So students can draw 3 objects that start with the sound that you're doing. Number 3, write about what you have learned. So walk around the room, find and copy any of the words that you can see that start with that sound. Number 4, think of 2 questions about the topic and share them with a friend. Number 5, think of one thing you know for sure and one thing that you wonder about. Number 6, 4 corners. This is a favourite of mine. Have 4 corners with agree, strongly disagree, and strongly disagree, and you make statements. For example, with younger students, you could show some objects or pictures and ask them whether or not they start with the focused sound. You can use lots of other statements for different age groups, depending on the topic that you're doing. Number 7, body voting. Move to the left side of the room or the right side of the room, depending on the answer to a question. For example, you could ask, does chicken start with ch? And if you put ch in front of ip, do you get chip? Make it fun. Number 8, mini whiteboards. Ask a question, the students write or draw and hold up the answer. Students could be given a sound or a letter to write. They could be given a maths question. You could write any kind of question about any subject area and they hold it up. And if they want to write, they can, and if they want to draw, they can do that as well. And kids who are really reluctant to write will often write on mini whiteboards or on whiteboards because they know they can rub it out. Number 9, throw and catch a ball, asking questions as you do that. And number 10, in pairs, create a story about the topic that you're doing or a quick quiz for other kids to do. Check out our other videos in this series where you will gain more ideas for what to do instead of worksheets. You'll learn activities for individual tasks, collaborative tasks, and teacher-led activities that you could use for your whole class. There are so many fabulous ideas that will get you and your students excited about the learning. Thanks for watching. Stay safe and happy teaching.